Hello, Heroscape lovers. I am the Heroscape Goblin. I just wanted to give a very brief introduction before we jump into all the fun and exciting Secrets of the Citadel releases. I'm just going to be starting this channel, see if we can catch any steam. I really enjoy talking about Heroscape, getting into Heroscape, and I wanted to sort of put my 2 cents in, plant my foot into the community, and see if it's worth any of the discussion. But I enjoy discussing Heroscape quite a bit, and I hope y'all enjoy listening to me discuss Heroscape for quite a bit, because there's lots of really fun releases. I think we're just going to start with the Battle for Blackscar Battle Box. I'm gonna put out future videos in discussion for the other Secrets of the Citadel releases, including the Paragons of the New Alliance Army expansion, the Clockwork Combine Research Expedition, and then what were the other two? The Crooked Crew of the Clockwork Combine Army expansion, and the Might of the New Alliance. I'll probably do a little review for the terrain that's going to get released too, but yeah, just gonna start with probably the most exciting set. It's definitely the biggest here since it's a battle box. All right, first of all, we got the Battle for Blackscar Battle Box. I suppose the first thing to note is the fact that when the leaks for Secrets of the Citadel came out, were spread across the internet, the assumption was going to be that this was going to be a new master set. You know, all of the units are unique. It gives off the impression, based off of the return of old figures and, you know, new terrain types, all that. And for the most part, from what can be gathered across the internet, it seems that that was supposed to be the original plan. But in order to, I don't know, from what it seems to me, release the sets in a more financially feasible and acquirable way is to release them in these little chunks. And they're releasing them in these little chunks in accordance with how the generals are now coordinating with one another. So in case you didn't know, basically with the new lore, we have 4 of our generals, not counting Thorin and his own unaffiliated general, but we basically have 8 generals, and in this next chapter during Secrets of the Citadel, they're going to combine. So we have 4 separate, basically, alliances. And the first alliance being the Clockwork Combine, Enar and Volarak. The second being Umbral Covenant, Revna and Vidar. And those 2 will be released basically in this set. The other 2 being the new alliance of Jandar and Utgar. We'll get to that later. And the Verdant Pact of Ular and Aquila, which are not featured rather, in any of these releases. So something further down the line. Definitely more Aquila, I imagine, in the future. We've had quite a few Ular lately, so yeah, definitely. But anyway, let's jump into the Battle for Blackscar Battle Box. Alright, so it does look like there is going to be terrain and some destructible objects released in there. Looks like the mushrooms that were teased in the leaks for Secrets of the Citadel. They're called the, Shadow something. What is this called? Shroud Shrooms. That's not going to be easy to continuously pronounce, but we have Shroud Shrooms. They release like a specific spore. We'll get to that. I think that's at the end of this box set. But just to begin with, we'll get into the figures. We have Agent SI4X. Really cool looking model. This is one of my favorites that got teased when we first saw the Secrets of the Citadel leaks. So let's go through the stats here. a life of 3, move of 6, range of 5, attack of 2, defense of 5, with 80 points. His abilities are very much... his stats, rather, are very much dependent on his abilities, so we'll just get right into the abilities. Number 1, Obfuscation. Ooh, that's going to be a fun word to say. Obfuscation Matrix. SI4X is space, and all spaces within one of SI4X's are considered shadow spaces in addition to their own original terrain types. So, basically you get, just with what shadow spaces are, he gets a defense plus of 1. So, he never really has ever a defense of 5. He will always have a defense of 6, defense of 7 with height. So, already right off the bat, doing a lot better with the stats. Next ability, Phantom Protocols. Okay, well, I guess just going back to Obfuscation Matrix, there would be a slight advantage then to attacking at range, because if an opponent is within an adjacent space of Agent SI4X, they would then get their slight defense buff of +1. So, anyway, moving on, we have the Phantom Protocols. Revna and Vidar figures you control that start their movement on a shadow space can move through figures and do not take leaving engagement attacks during that movement. So that's really nice. Not sure necessarily Revna needed that buff, but it creates more of a synergy between these two generals, which they're trying to further elaborate on with this new release. I like it because it is very much a Vidar type of move. Vidar is all about future tech. Phantom Walk was first, arrived with Agent Carr, basically the first Vidar figure ever. So very, very amongst the theme of Vidar. So I can definitely appreciate that. It definitely incentivizes you to have Revna and Vidar armies around you when you're using Agent SI4X. We'll see in the future of how much this particular ability comes in handy. I think his other, his first ability and the next ability we're going to get into are far more impactful. So with that being said, his next ability is Shadow Assassin. So Shadow Assassin is while SI4X is attacking a hero or a squad figure that is on a shadow tile, all skulls in the attack roll count for 1 additional skull. So basically, if you happen to roll 1 skull, it actually means you roll 2. If you roll 2, it actually means you roll 4. If he's on height and he happens to get 3, it gets 6. So that's nice. I like that the more recent contemporary figures are using this all skulls attack roll count for 1 additional skull. Oh wait, you know what? I am reading this wrong. I was thinking it more of like how Lovi attack has... Unless I'm getting Lovi attacks wrong. But basically, if you happen to attack a hero or a squad and they're on a shadow tile, which if they're adjacent, and all skulls in the attack roll... Wait, all skulls in the attack roll count for 1 additional skull. Okay, you know what? I had it right the first time. I thought that it was if you had all red skulls, you could throw on an extra one. But the original interpretation, the correct interpretation, is far more superior than what I just thought that it might be. But basically, yeah. So, not necessarily a greater likelihood of rolling skulls, but when you do roll those skulls, they're going to hit a lot harder. I think this is great for a Vidar Soulborg unit. We didn't even get into the stats over on the left side of the card. Yeah, Soulborg, Unique Hero, Agent, Tricky, Medium 5. Agent Tricky, very common amongst Vidar. Soulborg, pretty neat. Pretty neat that it's a Soulborg and not this big, bulky, Q11 or, Deathwalker kind of Soulborg. I like that this one's more sleek, has more agile look to him, or them rather. But you know, I think this is going to be a great addition. Vidar is, I want to say Vidar is my favorite general, but I have so many dang Utgar units that I love to use. So I think in the end, I'd probably say that I like Utgar a lot more. But Vidar is a second, and a great addition. Great that you can now synergize them amongst Revna units. At least a bit more. I don't know how much Phantom Protocols is really going to come in handy. It's a nice theme, you know. It's a nice ability for the theme of the unit. But anyway, we'll move on to the next one. All right, keeping in with the Vidar, we got Sudema, return of a classic figure, which I would never have the opportunity of getting to own or use or even play against. So this is really neat for me. Just to point out right away, I love that all of the line of sights are across all of Sudema's little snakes that are across all of her head. So that's quite fun. The sculpt on what we can tell based off of the Heroscape website and the back of the battle box, it looks like a really, really nice sculpt. But yeah, over on the left side we have she's an undead, unique hero, queen, wild, medium 5. Gosh, off the top of my head, I don't think there's any synergies that can be used with wild, but I am far from the most advanced Heroscape player out there. So if you do have any, if you do know of any synergies that might be great, feel free to throw them out into the comments. That way others can know and I can be more educated for the future. But anyway, we'll continue on with the stats on the right side. So we got a life of 5. We'll just go into the defense after the life because I feel like they have a lot to do with one another. Life of 5, defense of 3. So overall survivability of about 15 or so. That's pretty good. 110 for points. Average, I would say, for that amount of survivability. Move of 5, average. Range of 6, pretty good. Considering contemporary Heroscape doesn't really like to do too many ranged units, especially in comparison with the old Heroscape. And then an attack of 3. Pretty average there. We'll get into the special abilities. Queen of the Crypt. After revealing an order marker on and before taking a turn with Sudema, you may take a turn with another undead or Eisenek hero you control that is on a shadow space or that is within clear sight spaces. 5 clear sight spaces. And then it looks like if you do not, you may instead take a turn with an undead or Eisenek unique squad you control. So they sort of nerfed it by saying if you want to use a hero, they have to be on a shadow space already. But this is only a synergy for undead and Eisenek. So it's more, instead of general based like SI4X, this synergy is more species based. Just from what I personally use, I mean, I don't really use too many of the Eiseneks. I know they're a very popular set of units. I try not to spend all of my money too quickly on all the Heroscape releases. I like to parse out my purchases. That way I can really have an opportunity to really appreciate each and every unit and see which ones I like and which ones I don't. So I really haven't gotten an opportunity to delve much with the Eiseneks, but I will say I have had Cyprian Essenwain and all the other vampires for quite a while, and I do know that they are an undead hero that would be able to take advantage of this, as well as the Wretches of Bogdan being a unique undead squad. I know Wretches are kind of niche. They can be really helpful, and most of the time really not. I feel like, if you know the Wretches of Bogdan, you know that if they roll all skulls, that's their lethal sting ability, then there is no defense and they automatically kill any small or medium figure. Doesn't matter hero or otherwise. So it's a great hero killing unit. You can throw this in with Sudema. Any other undead? That has to be a unique, so wouldn't be able to use the zombies. Yeah, you know, I'm sure that seems like it's a pretty wide synergy pool. There's just got to be some that I'm not considering right now. And, you know, if it seems like there is a lack of synergy, I'm sure that they're going to open it up for more in the future. But anyway, next ability and last ability, we have Petrifying Glare 9. After moving and before attacking, you may choose any figure within 5 clear sight spaces. Roll the 20-sided die. If it's 9 or higher, that figure takes 1 wound. So pretty good. It's not like an auto wound ability like Grimnack or Adelburn, but still pretty good. It's a ranged wound, and it's more likely than not that you will get it, ever so likely, unless you're going up against something like the Grave Grim, where it alters that likelihood of the D20 roll. But overall, I think this is a pretty cool unit. I like the thematic nature of the Petrifying Glare with Sudema and turning her victims into stone, what have you. But yeah, I honestly, I think I'm going to be using this unit quite a bit to see if I can sort of make a conjunction between my Vidar units and my vampire units. It doesn't necessarily need to be a conjunction, but I like the theming of both of the units, so pretty cool. I like the more horror and robotic stuff, so Vidar and Utkar are definitely my guys. And then we're going to jump over to, since we're talking about Vidar, and Vidar has teamed up with Revna, we're going to jump into Corvin the Rotbeak. This is the only Revna release in Secrets of the Citadel. Kind of had me by surprise, given that how much they were Renegade was pushing Revna in a positive way. I don't want to put that off in a way that I don't like it. I really like Revna. It's become one of me and my brother's favorite generals, units to use in the new contemporary Heroscape. Definitely like the more, you know, undead aesthetic. So, but yeah, we got Corvin the Rotbeak. We got undead, unique hero, beast, loyal, small. So we got another beast for the Conjure Familiars. I did peek at the lore for Corvin, and Corvin is very much associated with Rakchot, so perhaps they designed Corvin to help Rakchot be a lot more of a viable unit than he turned out to be. When Rakchot was revealed, I thought he had one of the coolest designs, and I've attempted to use him so many times, and I don't think I've ever won a match with him. So, but this is, I think, how they're going to fix Rakchot with Corvin, with the Eyes in the Sky ability. We'll just jump right into that ability. For special powers that are not attacks on army cards of unique undead and wizard heroes you control, you may treat figures within clear sight of Corvin as within clear sight of the undead or wizard hero. And when doing so, count range from Corvin instead of that undead or wizard hero. Also has stealth flying. So basically that being when Rakchot has, what's the ability called? Soul Fury, whatever. When you try to build up those Soul Fury tokens with Rakchot, that'll be a lot easier to do when Corvin, if you have Corvin in a different area of the map, every time a figure dies, and that'll build that up. Still don't know how great this will make Rakchot, but I think this will also work for characters like Sudema. You know, they specify undead and wizard heroes. So Rakchot being a wizard, I don't think you can use Iwasha with this because it's non-attacks, so you wouldn't really use special attacks. Petrifying Glare, it doesn't say special attack. It's not like it's a special attack, but it does wound. So with this, I don't think this would apply for special powers that are not attacks on army cards. It is a special power, but it doesn't say like special attack. You know, I would need some clarification with this one. Can you use Corvin the Rotbeak in conjunction with Sudema's Petrifying Glare? I don't think so. Well, either way, Corvin's only 30 points. Life of 3, defense of 4, so pretty survivable for a low point unit that has stealth flying. So, very good there. Move of 5, range of 1, attack of 3, so pretty average on that side, but fairly survivable for a 30-point unit. Hopefully Renegade is looking into their problem with beasts right now and the whole Conjure Familiar ability and widening the pool of synergies with more effective units that are beasts like Corvin. So hopefully that's what that ends up being. I don't really use my familiars, I'll be honest. I don't know if I will continue to, but you know, I'll always be open. I have many armies that I like to run, so not opposed to starting a entirely different army. So all right, let's go to the next one here. All right, next we got Nishi Sauta. So basically, I think that this battle box is set in a way where it's the Umbral, was it the Umbral Covenant? Yes, the Umbral Covenant versus the Clockwork Combine. So a mix of Vidar Revna and Enar and Volorak units. And starting with the first Einar unit, we got Nishi Sauta. So we got a pretty neat looking figure. I like the design. More of the classic Enar looking units would be favorable. I feel like Enar sort of spread away from what it originally was with more of the newer releases. There was a Crimson Widow, which I love using Crimson Widow. Absolutely necessarily part of any modern pirate build. But yeah, what was the other Enar unit? Fiabani. Fiabani comes off far more Vidar than Enar. And Crimson Widow ends up being a pirate. I feel like when it comes to pirates, they should have just made an entirely new general. Because the pirate synergy is what makes them all the same, as opposed to, you know what, general associations are a whole nother topic, but let's move on. So pretty cool looking figure. He's got a life of 4, defense of 4, so already a survivability of 16, pretty good for a unit with 75 points. Attack of 2, range of 1, move of 6, so pretty good move, below average attack, and slightly above average defense and life. And he is a human, much like you and me. But yeah, unique hero, lawman and samurai. So it's the first time I've noticed combining classes, which is pretty cool. It seemed kind of limiting beforehand that you can only have one class. It seemed like some units kind of needed to have 2 classes, just for making thematic sense, necessarily not to add more synergies or anything like that. But he is disciplined. Don't think disciplined has an effect on many synergies as far as I'm aware. But then medium 4. First special ability. He's got 4 special abilities, so let's get into them. Samurai Hero Bonding. After revealing an order marker on and before taking a turn with Nishi Sauta, you may take a turn with another samurai hero you control, which is nice. So yeah, able to use other samurai. Okay, so samurai heroes, not able to use the samurai squads, but honestly, I don't think I have any other samurai heroes at all right now. So that'd be something something to invest into if I tend to like this unit. But yeah, I'm sure there's I know there's some really cool looking samurai figures out there. I think there's going to be a samurai figure actually released later on that we're going to discuss with the Secrets of the Citadel. So I at least know of one synergy that I'll have once I'll buy everything here. So, but anyway, we got next one is Call for Backup. After revealing an order marker on and taking a turn with Sota, if he is within 5 clear sight spaces of an enemy figure, he may take a turn with another lawman hero. Wait, you may take a turn with another lawman hero you control that has not been activated this player turn. So already off the bat, with the Samurai Hero bonding and Call for Backup, you can take turns with 3 different units just by activating his order marker card. That's insane. As long as you haven't used that other lawman this turn, I mean, which if you have enough figures and you plan around that, that shouldn't be a problem at all. Like, wow. So, yeah, 5 clear sight spaces of an enemy figure. So basically, this is more of a, this isn't something you can use at the beginning of a game to advance more figures. More of something to use once your figures start to gain, get into more battles. Things get a little bit more heated in the mid-match and final match, so that's pretty cool. Sword Catcher. If Sauta is engaged with exactly 1 enemy figure, and that figure is a smaller medium, that figure reduces its attack and defense values by 1. So if you're just in a one-on-one battle, there's no one adjacent. Let's see. Engage with exactly 1. Okay, so you can even have backup around you. But as long as you're not swording a group of enemies, you just got 1, then they're going to reduce their attack and defense values by 1. This figure's looking great. Like, already. I was underestimating this figure. When I saw the release, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Another Enar unit that I can use seems pretty cool, but now that I'm going through the stats more in depth, this unit's going to be a really tough one to, I don't necessarily know to beat, but people are definitely going to be bringing this unit into battle, particularly if they want to have lawman samurai synergy. I mean, I think this will be the crux of that synergy. And then lastly, like, he needs another move. Like, I feel like already if you had 3 of these special abilities, worth the 75 points already. I think he's worth the 75 points just with the first 2 abilities. But throw Sword Catcher on there, and then we're going to throw on Improved Counter-Strike. So when Sauta successfully, I hope I'm saying this name right, but when he successfully defends against a normal attack from an adjacent figure, that figure takes 1 wound for each excess shield, which you're rolling 4 defense. That's not that unlikely. So now your enemy has to gauge whether it's even smart to attack you, whether it's even worth it. If they have a 1-life squad figure with not that much attack, say you're using a Morrow Warrior, I mean, Morrow Warrior is probably not going to be attacking, adjacent, but something like that, I mean, odds are you're going to get that Counter-Strike in. So really barn burner of a figure there. I can't wait to use them. Nishi Sauta. All right. So moving on to the next one, we have. I think that was okay. So yeah, that was the only Enar unit in this particular box. In the Battle for Blackscar Battle Box. That's a lot of B's. Anyway, we got a Volarax. Kanak Private Eye. I like the Private Eye after his name. Small note, I like that they didn't add the Private Eye, just comma Private Eye. I don't know. I feel like they very well seem like they kind of wanted to do that more and more, but not everyone has to be the Kairi Warrior. Anyway, Kanak has a pretty cool sculpt. I think Kanak is important in the new lore going forward. I think he's going to be writing some of the lore from what I've gathered. Yeah, honestly, when I saw that he had a flashlight and there were going to be shadow tiles released, that it was going to have some sort of conjunction, but from what I gather, they don't. So let's get into the abilities. Or not abilities, rather the stats. So the stats on the right hand side, we'll look at it here. Has a life of 5 and a defense of 3. So pretty average there when it comes to heroes. 15 survivability. He has a move of 5, range of 5, and attack of 4. So pretty good move, pretty good range, pretty good attack. 85 points, not bad. I feel like this isn't anything too crazy, but, you know, pretty good. He is an orc, so you got orc synergy there. Unique hero, lawman, so you got lawman synergy there, so that's pretty cool. Crafty is his trait, or personality rather. I don't think that has many synergies. I'm really bad with personality synergies, I'll be honest. I have a lot of the other ones more memorized, but the personality synergies, for some reason, they just don't stick with me. I don't know why. It's like harder to keep track. Maybe it's because some of them seem like they're so close to one another. It's kind of like let's like picking hairs. This one's unfathomable. This one's slightly different. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. We got Pick Up the Trail for his one and only special ability. After a player turn in which one or more unique heroes you control were destroyed, you may move all order markers on those heroes' army cards onto this card. Then, if any of the destroyed heroes was a lawman, you may reveal the X order marker and immediately take the turn with Kanak Private Eye. Alright, so not a bad ability. Slight synergy with lawman, but don't necessarily have to have a lawman to make this ability work. I think we all feel the pain when we put order markers on a character that we weren't expecting to get destroyed, then they get destroyed, then we waste a whole turn. I guess this ability was made to get rid of that feeling, but do you really put 85 points worth of a unit just for that scenario? I'm not sure. It's an ability that's dependent on you not doing, I don't want to say not doing well, but it's an ability that is dependent on you making a mistake. Unless, I mean, you deliberately throw, you're just like, screw it, in case this figure that I really want to use is still surviving, then great. But if they die, then I can move the order markers onto this figure. Like, I don't feel like Kanak will really, I mean, it's called Pick Up the Trail, but will he really pick up the trail from what other character you were originally intending on using? Range of 5, attack 4 is pretty good, but is it enough to basically make up for whatever you were originally planning when you put those order markers on a character that died? It's a cool power. I feel like this is a cool power that should be like a second or third ability. This shouldn't be the only ability on the card. I'm not saying specifically for Kanak, but just that this ability isn't even going to be used in every game. It's almost like if someone's only ability was Slither or Swim, it's like that's a good ability, sure, but I mean, if you don't have a map with water, then you just don't even have an ability for that character. So that's kind of how I feel here. How often, like, are you gonna? To me, this doesn't happen that often to where I feel the need to throw in this unit. But maybe there is that person out there where they get so angry when a unit dies and they have to waste the order marker turn, and then that other player that just got a good kill on you gets to take another turn. You know, that can definitely domino affect you into, like, or snowball affect you into having a loss. But you know, I don't know. We'll see how this pans out. He could be a great unit for all that I know. This is just the first impressions, you know. These units just got dropped a couple days ago, so we're just putting in our first impressions. All right, and the last one from this box, we got Volarax Blink Dawson. Alright, so Blink is a pretty cool looking figure. I like the sculpt. Volarak aren't my favorite. They're like kind of cutesy but fierce animals. Um, I go back and forth on if I like them or not. But I never will go really back and forth on any other general theming. So I guess that shows that Volarak is my least favorite, but you know, I think they have great potential, and maybe the potential here starts with Blink Dawson. Survivability here, we got life of 2 and defense of 2, so nothing too crazy, just 4. But move of 5, range of 7, that's really good, and then attack of 2. But the big thing here is only 20 points, so a great filler unit. I feel like filler units are usually anywhere from what, like 25 and under points. Currently my favorite filler unit is Marku Essenwain. Very rarely does the Eternal Hatred ability take into effect, where you got to roll a d20, and if it's 17 or higher, the enemy controls that unit for a turn. So that's what I would say is one of the best filler units. That one, Isamu, a couple of the other ninjas. I don't have too many filler units, but Marku has never really let me down. So Blink already is looking like having really good stats for being a filler unit. A ranged filler unit, a far-ranged filler unit, is pretty good. Getting to the stats over on the left side, we got a Vorid, so you got Vorid synergy. Unique hero, Lawman, you got Lawman synergy, and Precise. Medium 4, and then one and only ability is Quick Draw 7. When Blink Dawson is chosen as a target for a normal attack from an enemy figure within 7 clear sight spaces that is not adjacent, so anywhere from 2 to 7 spaces away, you may immediately roll the d20. If you roll a 7 or higher, the attacking figure immediately takes 1 wound and the attack ends just right away. They can't even attack you. 7 or higher is more likely than not. So in order to get Blink, what you're usually going to have to do, if you don't want to risk getting a wound, which usually you don't want to make that risk, you got to run up to him. And 7 is a huge window. Unless the other character is Cyprian Essenwain and he's got stealth flying with a move of 8, then there's no way anyone's getting the drop on Blink if you're playing him right. With that quick draw ability, I don't even know how many times that will happen, but just the threat of having the quick draw ability will keep your enemy on their toes. And for 20 points, I think this is a great unit, and something that the Volarak desperately needs. I think it's not even necessarily the theming preferences that's keeping me from liking Volarak. It's just that the figures themselves are not that viable in conjunction with everything else that they've been releasing. But yeah. Lastly, just did want to go over, it came with... looks like these are going to come with cards for the destructible objects. I really like this. So I think glyphs and destructible objects are going to come with the hex cards now. And so we'll just jump right into that real quick. Young Shroud Shroom has 2 abilities on it. Fungal Forest. Shroud Shrooms count as trees for the purpose of special powers. So I think like Halusha has some sort of special power that works with being adjacent to trees. So that would be in effect, but it doesn't work for just upping your defense by 1 from non-adjacent attacks like most trees would do. Or like the Takala jungle trees, or the bushes rather. So. Young Spore Cloud is the other ability. Small and medium figures within 1 space of a young Shroud Shroom cannot determine clear sight space and are not in clear sight of any figure. So, that could work as a benefit if you're a melee figure and you're trying to run up on someone. If you run around the Shroud Shroom, they can't really target you by any means. unless they're adjacent. But I mean, if you're only one space away from the Shroud Shroom, they shouldn't be that far from you. Unless they're shooting towards you and you're next to the Shroud Shroom. Basically, it looks like it gives, even though maybe the Shroud Shroom is only going to be, for example, like 1 hex big. I don't know how big it'll be, but say it's 1 hex big. If it has this young Spore Cloud ability, it makes it so even though you can hide behind just 1 hex, everything that is adjacent to it, as long as you're standing on it, you can't get hit by it. You can be within clear sight technically, but if you're next to it, they can't target you. So that's pretty cool. It's not cool that if you are a ranged figure and you're next to it, you just can't see anything unless you're adjacent to it. So this can help and hinder. I can see why you might want to destroy it if it's not good. I like that the shrooms are going to be destructible objects, because realistically, I don't know why trees shouldn't be allowed to be destructible objects. Like, let's say I'm using an entirely range army and I just don't like trees, and I'm a range army and I'm going against a melee army. I want to shoot down these trees because they're only working against me. But that's a rant for another time. But yeah, so that's basically the Battle for Blackscar Battle Box. Looks like it's pre-painted. Price on the Heroscape website is going to be $80, and the unpainted is going to be $65, which I think that's a pretty great deal. Honestly, you're getting 6 figures. I think only one of them I didn't really care too much for, and that was Kanak, and he's still pretty viable, I think, but for the most part, all great figures. You're getting terrain. I don't even think I mentioned that. Here, we'll jump into that real quick. On top of that, you're getting let's see, you're getting 2 mushrooms, right? You're getting 2 young Shroud Shrooms. You're getting, okay, well, you're getting 8 D6 combat dice. Oh, just, I don't know why I read D6 combat dice and my brain just, what? Big question marks go everywhere. No, it's just the regular attack and defense dice. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, it comes with those. Comes with a D20, 8 order markers, 20 wound markers, 1 round tracker, 25 hex tile terrain pieces. It doesn't say what kind they are. Like, what shape. Unless I'm just getting, like, maybe it says somewhere else and I'm just not reading the right area, but 25 hex tile terrain pieces. That's not a crazy amount. I think they're going to release an entirely different terrain set if you want to get more of the what are they called? The dungeon tiles and the new terrain type. What's it called? Ancient terrain. Yeah. So. But yeah, 25 of those, then 2 of the Spore Shrooms, a rule book, and a scenario guide. So, but yeah, I'm absolutely going to be getting it. I think this is, as it says on the front of the Premium Painted Edition box, perfect gateway to Heroscape. All these figures are really cool themed. I like that it's 2 separate armies, so you can just kind of, if you want, you can just pick 3 and 3, and I don't know if the points will count towards each other. I think actually the Vidar revenue units will outmatch the other ones, but yeah, I just wanted to start with the Battle for Blackscar Battle Box. That one, I think this is going to be a great addition to any Heroscapers collection. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to be playing with not just the Vidar units. Like, when I saw the box, I got really excited over the Vidar units, and Corvin as well. And honestly, some of these other units, Blink, Sauta, they're going to be really fun to use. They're going to be really fun to use, rather. But yeah, before I continue slurring my speech and stumbling over myself, we'll finish up right there. That'll be the conclusion of this video. This was a lot of fun for me. Hoping that this was a lot of fun for any of those still listening. and looking forward to doing more videos in the future about the other Secrets of the Citadel releases. But in the meantime, hope everyone has a great rest of your day. All right, peace out.